Inverter size or battery capacity? Which is more important when using a manual transfer switch? Can the Exodus 2400 run what the OUPES Mega 1 can't? A while back I got a transfer switch put in and I've been running a few critical circuits with my Mega 1 and B2 battery here. Now I found out pretty quickly that the Mega 1, while a solid performing power station, was not large enough for my kitchen circuit with a full-size microwave and a full-size side-by-side refrigerator. When the compressor is running, the microwave pulls too much current. And it's not enough to trip the inverter, but it does not run well. Check it out. Not good. When you're building a system on a budget, you're building something that's scalable. No matter what brand of power station you're using, you have to be aware of what you're wanting to power and what you have inverter and battery size to power. You might add solar panels, more inverter capability, more battery capacity later, but you don't have those right now. Now I planned this system with a Mega 1 and B2 battery, knowing that they could expand the battery capacity. And if needed, I could change out the Mega 1 to a Mega 2 or Mega 3, both of which have larger inverters and even allow me to still use this B2 battery expansion. But I don't have one of those yet. In the meantime, I'm curious, what would happen if I use my Exodus 2400 to feed that circuit instead of the Mega 1? It's an additional 400 watts of inverter, and the 2400 also has another 200 watts of what they call boost mode. Now those generally work best for things like motors and fans and such. But that extra inverter power, that extra inverter output could make my circuit usable with both the side-by-side refrigerator and the large microwave. So the benefit would be potentially more power in the inverter. The drawback is battery size. The 2400 has a 2,232 watt-hour battery. Now the Mega 1 with my B2 battery is 3,072 watt-hours. So the 2400 is definitely less. Well, that matter for me. The solar input on the 2400 is similar to the Mega 1, and although my 800 watt array is a little higher on amps than it can actually use, that's 13 amps versus the 13.72 amps that my panels can produce, that's not going to hurt the 2400, it just may be slightly less efficient. So I should still have plenty of solar power to keep things recharged. So that just leaves me two questions. First, can the larger inverter handle the power draw of both the refrigerator and the larger microwave? Second, will the smaller battery impact the use of the system over a day? Now this of course is going to vary a lot depending on how much we run that microwave. My refrigerator uses an average of 90 watts an hour, which works out to 2,160 watt hours over 24 hours. That leaves only 72 watt hours to run the microwave in that day unless we get a good solar charge during the day. So let's see how it works. So the inverter on the 2400 works. And if I'm not using much else, or if I have a lot of sun, the battery life isn't going to be a problem. I can definitely power the fridge and a few short uses of the microwave. Now in a real power outage, I would obviously break out a smaller microwave if I needed one, because that big one just uses so much power. The 2400 isn't much over the 2,000 watts that the Mega 1 has, so I'm not running everything at the same time. I'm not running all 6 of my circuits and powering everything we want. Now, if I wanted to reduce the power use of the grid, I could definitely, use it to do that as long as we recharge with solar each day. I could use it to really just power my refrigerator and microwave, and as long as there's a good amount of solar coming in, that should happen without having to have any grid power at all. But there's just not a lot of extra capacity, so I'm going to have to watch that. So both systems work, mostly. The Mega 1 inverter can't handle the power needs, and the battery of the 2400 is small for the amount of power I'm asking of it. But both work, but neither are ideal. So what's the solution? Well, more inverter and more battery, of course. Isn't that always the solution? I could add a battery to the DC input of the 2400, or the simplest step, of course, would be to upgrade to the OUPES Mega 2 or Mega 3 and use my external batteries. The Mega 2 has a 2500 watt inverter and can use B2 batteries, so it could do everything the 2400 can and still use my B2 battery, which that would give it 4 kilowatt hours of battery capacity. And the Mega 3, that has 3,600 watts of inverter capacity. And it comes with a 3 kilowatt hour battery just by itself, and you add in my B2 and I'm over 5 kilowatt hours of capacity already. And I can run just about everything on my critical load switch with that and have the capacity to run it for a little while. And of course, you can add even more batteries if they're needed. And both can take more solar than either the Mega 1 or the 2400 as well. Now the 2400 gives me the inverter power, but not the battery power if it's a cloudy day. A Mega 2 or Mega 3 would be a better long-term option. But for now, I'm going to keep using the 2400 or the Mega 1, depending on what I'm doing. So which would you upgrade first, the inverter capacity or battery capacity? Leave a comment below. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.